choice. Choice is a really interesting thing, isn't it? Every single day we are presented in life with hundreds and hundreds of different choices. In fact, they say that we make on average about 50,000 decisions every single day. And every one of those decisions comes down to a choice. When we look at the definition of choice in the dictionary, it says the meaning of choice is the act of choosing, the act of picking or deciding between two or more possibilities. The power, right, or liberty to choose an alternative. Choice has become a really big thing in the last few years, hasn't it? Because we've been presented with choices that maybe we did or didn't actually want to make. And we've lived in this era up until now where it was very much choices around ego. It was choices around the ego that was driving those choices. I used to make choices from my ego. I made choices about what I wore and labels and cars and all those sort of things based on the ego, that I was fulfilling the opinions of others being really important to me. And then I went through a really interesting time in my life. I went through a huge amount of lessons. I went through a huge amount of experiences that made me look at choices in a whole different way, because the choices that I was presented with really made me become a different person because of the options that were available. Now, yesterday in the news, Novak Djokovic came out and talked about his choices around his body. And it's interesting because there's been quite a lot of negative media about the fact that he has said that more accolades, more exterior acceptance really is not important to him. And actually the choice of his body ranks, and what he puts in that body ranks far above another accolade, another Grand Slam. He has achieved some really amazing things in his life, and in achieving that, he has become who he has become today. And actually all of the choices that we make and the things that we achieve mold us. And the things that we achieve are not just the positive things. It's not just about saying, I have achieved XYZ thing. I have achieved, I've achieved a certain weight. I have achieved a certain level of income in my business. I have achieved... It's always about external crap, isn't it? What about achieving inner acceptance of you? What about achieving failure? Why can't we achieve failure? Because it's a really important lesson. I always say that when you've walked in my shoes, you get to have an opinion on what I've experienced. And a lot of people kind of have these opinions and choices about what they think and feel because of what they've experienced. And so the key thing that I want you to think about here, and I wrote some notes about this, is, before we experienced what we have over the last few years, would you have been so opinionated about somebody's choice? Would you have felt so strongly about somebody's choice? Now, you can argue we've never experienced anything like this before, so it's really changed us all. Yeah, it has changed us all. Do you like the person that you've become as a result of the choices that you've made? Have you actually been objective and stood back and really looked at the person you have become because of these choices that you've made? Why is it so wrong? This is, this is a genuine question, and I want you to really answer this objectively. Why is it so wrong for people to make choices about their body because it goes against what we are being told we need to do? We all have a different version of what we want our lives to look like, don't we? But we don't go and tell people, oh, you shouldn't do that job because that's not X, Y, Z. I'm trying to be not quite so specific here so that I don't actually plant ideas in your head. What I'm trying to do is get you to really feel into this and really contemplate the notions that I'm putting to you here. Because have you vilified people? Have you changed your opinion of people because of the choices that they've